Hi, you guys. Hello. Welcome back to another Lunchtime with Lou. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Thank you guys for the compliments on the intro. I am in my brain. I haven't put it to actual editing yet, but I'm working on an intro in my head, and for when it turns fall, because I cannot have, the summer is killer. That's just not going to work. I mean, it is, but we need to do something new for fall. So have a great rest of your day at work, MK Liam. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Sherry, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Super generous. Thank you so much. Okay. Wow. All right. So, yes, we are. I am now that I've hit 10K, maybe I'm entitled to use the royal we. Just kidding. Can you imagine if I was like that though? I am in my brain working on another intro, which is probably why I'm jumbled, because when I think creatively, sometimes the analytical side has to be quiet. I can't do both. I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to enhance it to fit for fall. That's all. Move things around, you'll see. I hope you guys like it. Okay. So today what I wanted to talk about is, Alec Murdaugh is his petition has made it all the way to the highest court in the state, the South Carolina State Supreme Court. Okay, the next highest level after the state Supreme Court would be the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, they only hear a very, very few cases every year. I don't think Alec Murdaugh has enough oomph to his case for the federal at the federal level, but he might. I don't know. Anyway, it's all about this situation with Becky, the clerk, who was in charge of the jurors. And according to claims filed by the defense, Becky didn't handle herself correctly. She talked to the jurors too much. She influenced their verdicts. They had a little hearing. And while the judge did not find Becky's testimony credible, she also didn't find some of the jurors' testimony that credible either. So they appealed it, obviously. Now, do I think Alec deserves a new trial? This is what I'll say about that. I think anytime there is an issue of potential juror misconduct, no matter who the defendant is, no matter what the charge is, it must be taken seriously. And I do think there was some juror misconduct. Do I think that Becky influenced some of these jurors' ultimate findings? That I maybe slightly, and that's enough. So yeah, I kind of think, even though I do believe the jury got it right, I do believe he's guilty. I think that if there is jury misconduct, then yeah, we have to give him a new trial. The only good thing that would come from a new trial is more Dick Harpootlian. You know that I really like him in the courtroom. I don't know anything about his, position in government and what he does and what he's for, anything like that. I just think that he's, I like watching him in the courtroom because he looks like one of, I never know which one is which, Statler and Waldorf from the Muppet Show. He looks like one of them, but he talks like Foghorn Leghorn. Like he's really like a curmudgeon, and he just gets mad and, Your Honor, I said, this is preposterous, Your Honor. And he does, I find him to be entertaining. I can't help it. Okay. Oh, wow. Lariah, thank you very much for becoming a YouTube member. I appreciate that. Twice. It's showing twice. Welcome to the ward. Welcome to the asylum. I appreciate that. Thank you so very, very much. Okay, so that's what we're here to talk about today. Now, the juror that we're here to talk about today is juror number 786, who was always known as the egg lady. She is the lady that right after the defense did their, right after everybody finished their closing arguments, Judge Newman called her, and dismissed her. And she's been known from that point on as the egg lady, because he asked her what she had left in the jury room that she wanted to collect. And she said that she had a dozen eggs, her purse, and a bottle of water. And she wanted to get that out of the jury room. So the bailiff went and got that for her. So, but she actually has a name. Her name is Myra. And she did an interview on Law and Crime with Anjanette Levy. Hey, Coolest Reviews. Hey, everybody just coming in. Hey, Claus, K-Braze, Preschool, all you guys. Thank you so much. Cement Shoes. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate that. I wanted to get this underway because it's kind of a lot. And y'all know how I be getting off in the weeds. But I am grateful for everybody that's here, and I appreciate you guys being here. I really do. Okay, so she did an interview, and on top of the interview, homegirl has a book. Okay, I'll put the book in the thumbnail. I had a hard time with this thumbnail today. Wasn't one of my better ones. I do like the lunch with Lou part. That part is good. I just am not sure about the rest of it. But anyway, we're going to talk about that. And then I have something kind of like completely off topic for you guys that's not like true crime, but I think it might be helpful for you guys at the very end. So let's put her on the add her to the stream and let's hear what she has to say. All right, y'all ready? Let's go.
I just got tired of listening to the lies that were being spewed about me.
That's Myra Crosby, the dismissed juror from Alec Murdaugh's double murder trial, who became known as the Egg Lady. She's speaking about the case. Do you believe the state met its burden?
I do not.
Myra Crosby is telling all in a new book and to me about her removal from the jury and why she says she doesn't believe the trial was fair.
The way that I was dismissed was very sketchy.
Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. It's been more than a year since a jury in Colleton County, South Carolina, found Alec Murdaugh guilty of murdering his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul. It was South Carolina's trial of the century. The jury deliberated for 3 hours after hearing 6 weeks of testimony. And since then, a whole lot has happened. There have been allegations of jury tampering made by Murdaugh's defense against Clerk of Court Becky Hill.
You asked her questions before she was even examined by the judge, did you not?
Your Honor, I did not ask her any questions.
Now that
Okay, also, I love that judge as well. I thought she took a very straightforward, no-nonsense approach to handling things in the court. And I'll tell you another thing. She stood up to Dick Harpootlian, and that's kind of hard. It's hard to check the poot. I'm not going to lie. I don't even know if I could do it. And I don't intimidate easily. Mostly because I think I might just laugh. Don't tell Dick Harpootlian I said that.
That was from a hearing on the jury tampering claims earlier this year with retired Supreme Court Justice Jean Toll questioning Becky Hill and the jurors who deliberated and one alternate juror. Despite some jurors saying they heard Hill make comments about Alec Murdaugh during the trial, they said it didn't impact their verdict. At least one said that she thought it did impact her verdict.
I find that the clerk of court is not completely credible as a witness. Ms. Hill was attracted by the siren call of celebrity, and I find the defendant's motion for a new trial on the factual record before me must be denied.
Now, one juror who was not...
Okay, that's why I like her, because the siren call of fame, or whatever it was that she said, it's the siren call for me. Yeah, I just, it's just, I like that kind of flowery language. I feel like if I were a judge and I had to not only speak, but also write my opinion, which they do, I would like to use language like that. I would like I would like for my arguments and my decisions to be factual, but also, just a little entertainment for the reader. Why be boring? That's my thought. All right, here we go.
From the jury after the state's closing argument.
I have reviewed everything, including statements given by individuals and recorded interviews, and concluded that despite my order to not discuss the case with anyone, that intentionally or unintentionally you've had some discussions with some folks not on the jury, and which is going to require me to remove you from the jury. You have been a by all accounts, great juror and smiled consistently and have seemingly been attentive to the case and performed well. And I'm sure that with all the time you've invested in it, you probably hate not to continue, or maybe you're ready to go. I don't know. But I certainly want to thank you for your service. I'm not suggesting that you intentionally did anything wrong.
Judge Newman.
Okay. And I also really adore Judge Newman. And here's why. Because the allegation was that she communicated with her ex-husband about this trial, okay, which is a very serious accusation to make, all right? The jurors are instructed every single day before they leave, before they're dismissed, that they are not to discuss this, what happened that day or any other day during the trial with anybody at all. Not their friends, not their family, not the Facebooks, not the YouTubes, not the Instagrams, not the tickety talks, and definitely not other jurors. So to be, and he could have been really harsh with her, and he could have been kind of, firm, but he wasn't. And I like that about Judge Newman. I do like that. But hold on, let's continue here.
And said he determined that the juror had discussed the case in violation of his order against doing so. Juror 785 famously became known as the Egg Lady. I even called her the Egg Lady after this happened.
We all
What do
called
you
her the
have in
Egg
there?
Lady.
A dozen eggs.
Say it again?
A dozen eggs.
A dozen eggs.
Yeah, one of the other.
So, Mr. Bales, can you retrieve from the jury room her dozen eggs, her purse, and what else? And a bottle of water.
Now, Murdaugh's lawyers contend that Clerk of Court Becky Hill, who has since resigned and is under criminal investigation and faces a long list of ethics complaints, launched a campaign to remove the Egg Lady from the jury. Murdaugh's appeal is now with the South Carolina Supreme Court, which will consider the jury tampering issue.
Okay. One of the things that she's going to talk about, this juror who was dismissed, is this Facebook post. And whether or not she contends that it had to have been manufactured because she hasn't spoken to her ex-husband in like 10 years. And this is one thing that I don't really completely understand. And also, this is what I feel is potentially problematic that goes to her credibility. It's this book. To me, when you have an allegation, when she's made some serious allegations, okay? And when it comes down to your word versus another person's word, credibility is huge. And when you have a motive or motivation to be less than honest, which would be book sales in this case, to me, that is problematic. However, I will say that because Becky is being looked into, I do think that it is proper to fully investigate these claims of potential jury tampering, even though most of them said it didn't affect or impact their verdict. One can never be too careful. This is our system of justice in the United States. It is the highest crime, even if it wasn't the highest crime, but it is the highest crime in our country that you can be charged with. It carries the most serious consequences, punishment. I think that it's important to make sure that everybody receives a fair trial, regardless of who they are. And rest assured that if there was something going on, if there was something hinky going on the part of the defense, I would be just as vehement. It's not, Lady Justice is supposed to be blind, and I know that's hard when you're dealing with human beings because that's just not how human beings are, but we should at least strive to get as close to that as possible. So let's continue to hear this and they're going to interview her eventually. So let's get to it.
Joining me is the juror who became known as only the Egg Lady. That's what we knew her as for many months. Now we can tell you her name is Myra Crosby. Myra, thanks for coming on. First of all, tell us, why are you speaking out now? You've decided to reveal yourself to the world.
That's a tough decision. I wanted to be left alone in the beginning, but it never stopped. And people continued to say that I had done wrong. And all I've ever said from day one is I wanted Alec Murdaugh to have a fair trial. And the way that this trial went, it was far from fair. And I just got tired of listening to the lies that were being spewed about me.
Why do you think the trial was not fair?
Well, the way that I was dismissed was very sketchy. The fact that the clerk came into the jury room on multiple occasions and basically gave us her opinion, I don't think that was fair at all. But I don't think that should have been part of the, what's the word? Part of the trial. I think that the clerk had a job to do, and I think she overstepped her boundaries. And I don't think that it was investigated enough as what was done to me.
Now, Myra Crosby, when we spoke, said that Becky Hill first asked her about a Facebook post that Hill claimed was posted by Crosby's ex-husband that said that she had been talking about the trial.
Our bailiff came into the jury room and told me that the clerk needed to speak with me. And he came in, got me, and took me into an office. And that would be where the fake Facebook post came in. And she questioned me about having an ex-husband and had I been drinking with him, because she was made aware of a Facebook post that I was supposedly drinking with him, and offered an opinion on the trial. And I told her that did not happen. I haven't seen him in over 10 years. So I wanted to see the post. She couldn't show me the post, but she said she would have one of her techie clerks look into it and she would get back with me.
So you were confronted about a Facebook post that was allegedly from your ex-husband who you hadn't seen in years, but then you were never shown the post.
She couldn't, or I don't know if she couldn't find it or didn't have it or what, but she never showed me a post. And then she asked me, well, do you have an opinion on the trial?
Now, see, I have like a little tiny, this part isn't jiving with me. Like I kind of feel like something is not all the way being told here, because I feel like Judge Newman, to me, and maybe I'm being naive, but he comes across as a very fair judge. And I do think that Becky Hill behaved unprofessionally. Let me make that very clear. But aside from that, or putting that aside, I should say, just for a second, ultimately, the decision to dismiss the juror would have been Judge Newman's. And he seems to me to be the type of judge that would not just take it on somebody's word, meaning there would have to be a post. And even if Miss Myra here was not shown the post, I feel like Judge Newman was, because, and she also refers to it as a quote unquote fake Facebook post. So that means that there was, she is not disputing that there was indeed a post, but what she is disputing is, I guess, who authored it. Maybe it was her ex-husband, but that he's the one that lied. I'm not sure, because I skipped this part because I wanted to watch it with you guys, you know, to give you a fresh take. All right, so here we go.
And I told her I hadn't heard enough. You know, I wasn't decided. I mean, we weren't even, you know, into all of the trial yet.
The Murdaugh case is, of course, full of lawyers. Even the egg lady, Myra Crosby, has a lawyer, and you never know when you might need one. Morgan & Morgan has more than 1,000 attorneys, and there are none of us really knew what was going on, and no one would tell us. Afterwards, we found out that Myra Crosby was being questioned by Judge Newman and the attorneys.
The first time that I was called back there, I thought, because Becky had pulled me that day, and then I had asked to speak with her again later before our break or after our break. But I thought I was being pulled into his office about a Facebook post.
And then what happened?
I told the judge the same thing I told Becky, is I haven't seen my ex-husband in years. You know, I don't talk to him. I don't drink with him. If he posted on Facebook, I never saw it. He was blocked on my page. And at the time, my Facebook page had, I was in Facebook jail.
Oh,
so
dear.
Nobody would question why I wasn't, you know, posting, because generally I post something positive daily, and I didn't during the time of the trial because I didn't want anybody questioning that.
Becky Hill.
Okay. For a minute there, I don't know if Myra knows what she just said there. Facebook jail means something different to those of us on the social media. That means you did something, or let me put it this, that's not accurate. Facebook thinks you did something and they unrestricted your ability to post. But I think what she's saying is it was like self-imposed. She was not posting anything because she's a juror. And it is possible that, yeah, her ex-husband may have posted something, just to be a jerk, but I think that the right thing to do would be to err on the side of caution. And if it's true that her ex made this post, and at the end of the day, if they would have let her stay, I think it would have been a problem. It's not really her fault that her ex-husband chose to do this. It's not. But out of an abundance of caution, I agree with Judge Newman. I think Judge Newman did the right thing. I'm curious what she has to say about Judge Newman. Let's keep going.
Hill would later say that Facebook post was deleted. Myra Crosby's ex-husband signed a sworn affidavit months after the trial denying that he ever wrote the post in question. Your ex-husband said that he didn't post that post.
He did not. And apparently they have went through his phone, his laptop, and the post was never made. And it's pretty convenient that she found an apology post that was dated prior to her saying she saw the original post.
The questioning of Myra Crosby didn't end with that Facebook post. The court also received an email from someone who wanted to remain anonymous that claimed Crosby had spoken to her husband's tenants about the case. Did you discuss the case with your tenants?
I did not.
What happened then?
Supposedly there was an email from a coworker of one of my tenants. I believe it was like 10, 11 days after I delivered a refrigerator. My husband has tenants. He had property when I met him, and he still does, but we delivered a refrigerator on a Saturday. And I want to say it was before President's Day because we were going out of town for the weekend. We delivered the refrigerator. The female tenant and I discussed pizza and our new jobs because she had been in a different position than where she was when we had seen each other last. And I was working at a different job than where I was working at before. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we never discussed the trial. I told her, no, I didn't even tell her. My husband told them that I was a juror so that they wouldn't ask questions, because at the time that trial was the talk of the town. So that my husband let him know quick, she can't discuss that.
Okay. This phrasing here feels a little problematic to me because if the trial wasn't being discussed at all, why bring it up? You see what I'm saying? I remember Judge Newman and his admonishments every single day at the end of court before he dismissed the jurors. And what he said is, you cannot discuss it. Don't bring it up. If somebody is talking about it around you, remove yourself from the situation. That's what he said. And so to me, her husband saying, well, she's on the jury means like if they were talking about pizza and new jobs, why did the trial come up? Do you guys understand? You take my meaning? It doesn't make sense to me. Something doesn't sound right. And how should I put it? Oh, yes. The milk ain't clean. That's what it sounds like to me. Now, I understand wanting to clear your name. I get that. But how much name clearing do you need to do writing a dadgum book? Like, something just doesn't feel right here. And I cannot quite put my finger on it.
We were there all of maybe 30 minutes. And we didn't even talk about the trial. We talked about pizza. We talked about our jobs. We talked about family. Had nothing to do with anything at the trial other than food.
So you guys did.
So your husband, out of nowhere, in between conversation about pizza, food, and jobs and family, just happened to mention, oh, hey, by the way, I know we ain't talking about this. This is not a subject for discussion right now currently, but just in case the conversation goes on, I just want you to know we cannot talk about the Alec Murdaugh trial because my wife is a juror. Does that make sense to y'all? That just does not sound right to me at all.
Did not talk. You and the tenants did not discuss the evidence or the case. You're telling me that right now.
I did not.
The prosecution team
And
has
shook her head
disputed
yes.
Myra Crosby's claims and court documents. Transcripts of hearings that were held in Judge Newman's chambers during the trial regarding information the court was receiving about Crosby were included in some of their filings. Judge Newman questioned Crosby, according to the state, asking, so has she discussed the case with any of the jurors, meaning Becky Hill? Has the clerk discussed anything about the case with anyone on that jury? Prosecutors say that Crosby responded, not that I am aware of. Judge Newman and the defense and prosecutors also questioned the tenants about any conversations they had with her when she and her husband delivered a refrigerator to them. The male tenant, according to prosecutors, said she hadn't decided either way because it was, it was kind of early in the case, I guess, that she made no decisions if he was guilty or if he wasn't. The female tenant was also questioned and asked by Murdaugh's lawyer, Dick Harpootlian, about what Crosby said. The female tenant recalled Juror 785 said that she could not, without, a doubt or whatever, say he was guilty.
I can't discuss what's in their transcripts because it's under seal, but I can tell you that I spoke with both tenants afterwards, and they both adamantly said that they told them I didn't talk about the trial. I only even saw the mail when we got there because him and my husband were taking a refrigerator in and taking a refrigerator out. I pretty much sat with the female and we talked about different things that had changed with us.
All right, back the milk truck up, Myra. Now, this is not making a lick of sense. So you're telling me that initially, when all this stuff started, before any of the tampering or any of the stuff came out, that you were in chambers with Judge Newman, and he asked you about Becky, and you said that no, she wasn't having discussions with jurors. But today you're saying, oh yes, she was definitely having discussions with jurors. So which is it? Were you telling the truth then, or are you telling the truth now? Because it's a problem, because your stories are conflicting. And then you have the tenants who, in a sworn statement, that is what an affidavit is. It's a sworn statement. Okay. So in a sworn statement, they allege that you did talk to them somewhat about the trial, just saying that you hadn't made your mind up yet. Right. But now you're saying that they've told you no, they didn't tell them that. Something ain't right, y'all. Something ain't right. Here we go.
It didn't have anything to do with the trial.
Judge Newman made the decision to remove Crosby from the jury.
When I got home that day, I talked to my husband and told him that they had dismissed me or whatever. I was a little confused. I spoke with both tenants that day, and when they told me what they said, I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. Then why did the judge say this? I didn't know anything about my ex-husband until 2 weeks after the trial, and I was very angry with him. When he called me, I asked him what was wrong with him, and he was confused. And then he told me that he never posted anything on Facebook. So that just kind of blew my mind. So I kind of felt like, why was I targeted? Is it because I constantly told Becky I was undecided?
Was she asking other jurors about their feelings, or as far as you know, was she only asking you?
I don't know what she asked other jurors. Can I say that I saw her talk to other jurors privately? Yes. But what she was asking them, I can't attest to that because I wasn't with her.
Now, Judge Newman had said that Crosby's ex-husband wasn't a factor in his decision to remove her from the jury, but Justice Toll took an interest in this interaction between Crosby and Becky Hill during the evidentiary hearing last January and questioned Hill about it extensively.
Well, she says in this testimony that she didn't know about the Facebook until Miss Becky told me. Was that incorrect?
I'm not saying,
Some kind of conversation went between the two of her for her to know about that post, correct?
that's true. And I'm thinking that it could have been someone, it wasn't me. I just know that it's not me that she talked to about that.
Well, even in her SLED investigation, she admitted that she thought I might vote not guilty based on her conversations with the forelady.
And how do you know that?
I've read it. So that kind of confuses me because I watched the evidentiary hearing. I watched her say that she didn't know who talked to me, but it just was not her. I know who I talked to. I know the officer that I asked to have her come down and talk to me. And she did. It wasn't another clerk staff. It was her.
Myra Crosby has now written.
Hang on, I want to answer something to talk about. Well, we don't know something to talk about. Good to see you, by the way, because it's now being, it's in the South Carolina State Supreme Court. So they haven't made a decision yet. So we don't know yet. And I want to highlight what Oliver said too, because I think this is, I agree with this. Oliver says, not fair to the taxpayers either, that now have to put out so much money to retry this. She should pay for the retrial. I do think that Becky Hill should be, if she did what she's accused of, and when the investigation is complete, should she be found guilty of the accusations, I think that, yes, her fines she should have to pay some fines, and they should be steep, because if her conduct results in Alec getting a new trial, then absolutely it's going to be expensive. When you change venues, it is expensive to do that. So speaking of changing of venues, there is a hearing going on right now, I believe, in Brian Kohberger. And after I end this live, I'm going to go and listen to that, because Kohberger's defense wants a change of venue, and that they're going to, the judge is going to hear arguments about that. And so, yeah. And I also think that if this is accurate, Kelly P says Miss Becky probably interjected herself in other trials too. That's the problem when there is an accusation of any type of impropriety on the part of the clerk of the court that handles the juries. It's not in one trial, it calls into question every trial, and that's a problem. So, anyway, let's hear about Myra's book. How long could this book even be, y'all? For real. How long could this book be?
A tell-all book with Crime and Cask entitled Because Enough is Enough. She also still has that dozen eggs. You've now written a book. Why have you written this book?
Why do you have those eggs?
Because I think the courts could have done a lot more. I think when Judge Newman discovered that Becky talked to me privately, he could have looked into that. When she turned in the fake apology post, he could have looked at the dates on that. I think more could have been done, and the courts didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Having sat through the trial, do you believe that Alec Murdaugh was guilty? Do you believe the state met its burden?
I do not. I
So
think
you-
they proved, I think that they proved he's a liar, he's a thief, but there wasn't any evidence to prove that he murdered them. You had
Ma'am.
no murder weapon, you had no motive.
Okay, first of all, let me explain something to you. You don't have to prove motive. Motive is not a necessary requirement. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of evidence. The most, in my opinion, damning evidence against Murdaugh was him saying, oh no, I hadn't been down at those kennels. And then boom, here comes that video. That's a chicken. Buh. I mean, come on. Did you watch the same trial? Lordy be.
You had no witness, you had no confession.
Crosby is also speaking out in a Fox Nation special, The Fall of the House of Murdaugh from Egg to Z, along with another juror, Juror Z, whose name is Mandy Pierce.
So at the evidentiary hearing,
hang on. I'm not going to play that last bit. I'll give you guys, I'll put the link to the law and crime video that we just watched. That way we can, because I don't know what the deal is with that documentary or that interview or whatever. It's probably I ain't trying to get a copyright claim, so I rather just leave it out. But anyway, that is that. Now, the last thing I have for you guys is for all you parents out there with school age kiddos, there is a woman. She is local to the Floridas, but she does have an Instagram account. The name of her Instagram account is Lunchbox Mafia. For those of you guys that use Instagram, I don't. But I wanted to show you guys this because she has like some cool ideas for lunch. I still can't listen. I'm not a big fan of eggs, just generally. I'm not a fan at all. I'm not a big fan, not a fan at all. I will not eat them here or there. I will not eat them anywhere. Don't like eggs at all. I mean, I know that like you have to cook with them when you make cakes and, stuff like that when you need like egg wash and stuff for like frying stuff. And I will use it for that. But as far as like eating an egg by itself, scrambled, boiled, fried, no, and no at all. But I need to understand, ma'am, why you still have that dozen eggs. Like, what are you doing with them? I don't care for that. I've got questions. That sounds gross. All right. So anyway, this is the Lunchbox Mafia helping with ideas about lunch. And I just wanted to play this for you guys. It's super quick for you parents out there who, need some ideas for lunch. So here you go.
Your kids are already bored with their lunches. Well, you might want to check out Lunchbox Mafia. That's an Instagram page run by a mother from Pasco County, where she provides creative and easy to make school lunches for busy parents.
For the Lunchable, we're going to do grapes and carrots.
You could say Jenny Pagliatti is a pro when it comes to packing school lunches for her daughter.
I work. I'm trying to get out the door at 8 o'clock with her and get her to school.
Her busy schedule meant she had to find quick and creative ways to get lunch packed that her daughter would actually eat. She shares all of her ideas with moms and dads online on her Instagram account, Lunchbox Mafia.
I went ahead and started sharing the lunches on Instagram and discovered a huge community of parents and people that, love packing lunch.
These lunches are not only packed in a cute way for the kids.
Everybody eats with their eyes, but kids especially.
But they're incredibly...
I eat with my eyes. I am still in that regard. Very, if kids especially eat with their eyes, then yeah, I'm still a child in that way.
Easy to make. She also shares ideas that come in handy when your menu ideas might be in a rut.
A Sunday when I'm making breakfast, I'll go ahead and I'll prep like some breakfast, like burritos or sandwich wraps or whatever, make extra and just put them aside.
Jenny even put me to work, helping to get meals ready for the week.
So for the Lunchable, we're going to do grapes and carrots, making everything bite-sized.
With a name like Lunchbox Mafia, she has quite the lunchbox stash. Many of them have compartments so your kids' food doesn't touch.
I also don't like my food to touch. I also like naps and snacks. So perhaps I am very childlike in many, many ways. And you know what? I'm not going to change, and I'm probably never going to outgrow that, because if I haven't yet, it's probably not looking good. Here we go.
Jenny also says she uses little pics and decorations like these to engage her daughter.
Super fun, right? Yeah. So you can finish up, put some grapes in there.
For Jenny, it's become somewhat of a love language packing her daughter's lunch, and she's excited when she hears other parents agree.
When they message me back and say, hey, this worked, or hey, my kid loved that, or, look at this clean, empty lunchbox, it's great to hear that it's helpful.
It was really fun because I am not that kind of creative person. You know this about me. I'm not creative, but looking at these lunches, it really...
All right. So there you guys go. Remember, her Instagram name is Lunchbox Mafia. So if you you know, if you guys need creative ideas, check her out. I just thought I'd give you parents with school age kids, something to, if you're in a rut or whatever, some options for you. But yeah, anyway, I want to thank you guys so very much for being here today. Now, tonight, as promised, I did not go live last night like I said I was going to. There was a little hiccup in the get along. Hold on, Alice. There was a little hitch in the get along about scheduling. So a couple of things. One, if you're a member of Patreon, I released the first episode of Bedtime Books with Bindi, and we're reading Box Full of Nightmares. It's memoirs from Terry Hobbs. He is the stepfather of Stevie Branch, one of the 3 boys murdered in West Memphis in 1993. I started that. Then the other thing I want to tell you is I will be back live tonight at 5 to talk about Sarah Boone. She's filed some things, and there's a jail behavior report that's rather interesting. I want to talk about that with you guys, plus the CPS situation with the suitcase that allegedly occurred prior. We're going to talk about that. Then we're going to go over to Alex Erickson's, and please, if one of the mods could drop Allie's channel link, I would greatly appreciate that, and the link to the Patreon in case people want to join over there. Tonight over at Alex Erickson's, we're going to be talking about the documents that have just been released in the case against Stephen Stearns for the murder of Madeline Soto. I have been thinking and pondering a lot on this case, and I am very anxious to talk about it with all of you guys and Allie and ATS News. Also, the top 3 selections for the roast for the charity stream are up. They are Wade Wilson, Sarah Boone, and Gypsy. So please, they're on the community page. Please go over there and vote. The poll is going to close at midnight. So on September 1st, technically it'll be September 1st, because I want to do the charity stream that night at 9 p.m. Eastern. So I need to know what I'm going to do. Plus and have time to get something to prepare. And so that is what we are doing for the rest of the day. And I want to thank you guys all for being here. Thank you all so very, very much. I appreciate the support. If you haven't done so, please give your girl a thumbs up. I'm going to give y'all the outro and call it good. And I'll see y'all tonight at 5 for Sarah Boone. Bye.
Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do. Well, fuck you.
No malicious intent or effort was towards it.
No malicious. Finish her.
Minutes later.
We all do a little match sometimes.